Hi, I'm Jalen Rose, and welcome to the Renaissance Man podcast, proudly presented by the New York Post, a show where we cover trends in fashion, entertainment, current events, and everything in between. My next guest stands up for Chi-Town to the fullest. He's a comedian, NAACP award-winning actor, and you've seen him in multiple roles in movies and on TV, like You People, Blackish, Grownish, Harder They Fall, Barbershop, and about to be in Color Purple. Can't wait to ask you about that. And there's more. Now you can catch him on tour and in the new show, Average Joe. And on every other commercial on TV, by the way, killing the game, which is bringing suspense, drama, and comedy to audiences on BET Plus, who Tyler Perry just became the owner. Yeah. It's my honor to welcome the hilarious Deon Cole to the show. What up, my brother?
What's up, my brother Jalen? How are you, man? Thanks for having me, brother.
My pleasure, my pleasure. I appreciate you taking the time. And as I mentioned, the Midwest definitely in the house. So tell me what it was like for you growing up as a kid in Chicago.
Same story everybody had, no father, trying to figure it out, make it around the hood. Father figures wasn't, father figures wasn't the normal father figures. You know how it is in the city. Your father figure might be pimp, drug dealer, whatever, who's trying to tell you not to take the path that they take, you know what I mean? But still a father figure in a sense, so that's basically how it was, man, just coming up and, sparked on this craft that I had and kept pursuing it, and the streets allowed me to pursue it, and here we are.
And that's something that all young men, especially those from the inner city, need to navigate. Mm-hmm. I'm going to chase my goals and my dreams, but not get caught up in the street life. Yeah. And if we do get caught up in the street life, I've been in the wrong place at the wrong time multiple times. Yeah. What are some of the ways that you found yourself removing poor decisions that young people can learn from as you started to pursue your goals?
Finding love outside of the BS. That's what I think a lot of a lot of people who are part of gangs, I believe, exist because of the lack of love at home. It's people looking for love, you know what I mean, and acceptance. And so therefore, if there's nothing in that neighborhood to show them that, and they're showing them that, they're going to be loyal to that. So what I did was I found love in different places outside of like the BS. That's what kept me going and kept me out of a lot of bull, like basically, and just trying to just focus until one day I came, a friend of mine told me to do comedy, and I ended up doing it and never looked back.
And I wanted to drill down on that further because there's so many young people who want to be in entertainment, want to be in comedy, want to be in sports. And like you, I got laughed at when I said that to my friends, to the people in the neighborhood. When did you realize that you were funny and you had that talent?
Not until I was like way out of college and high school and all that. I'd never been a real funny dude like that. Anybody who even come up to me and say that, I'd be like, you was a fool in high school. I'd be like, no, I wasn't. I wasn't funny at all in high school. And that's why comedy was never on my radar, because I used to think comedians were just, pie in the face, just always on. And then, I started noticing other comics who were just like in the pocket where they wasn't doing that, like George Garland and like Ellen DeGeneres and, even like Red Fox in a sense. Red Fox used to just stand there, cigarette and a mic, and just talk. He wasn't animated. He wasn't, he just used his voice. And so, I started seeing comics like that, and I was like, they comedians, but they ain't doing all that. And so that gave me some type of like incentive to be like, maybe I can do comedy, because it's always your outlook. It's the way that you look at things, and that's what makes you different. That's what makes great comedians who they are. If you can have 5 people stand outside and see one car accident, 5 comedians see one car accident, you got 5 sets.
Right.
Sets, and ain't nobody gonna say the same thing about this same car accident that we all saw. So it's the same thing, just another perspective.
So since you, in theory, picked up the craft at a later age, based on what you just said, who were some of the entertainers and comedians that you admired as you started to get into the industry?
Well, I always loved comedy. I watched all comedy. Red Fox and Richard Pryor and Moms Mabley and Dick Gregory and Paul Mooney. I watched all of them. I just didn't think that was what I would be doing, because I didn't think that what I had to say matched what they said. But that was actually the thing that made me, was the fact that I did not have what I wanted to say the way that they would have said it, and for me to say it differently, So I've always, like I said, Eddie Murphy, everybody, I grew up on them, like loving them. And then now today, you got the great Dave Chappelle, who's I considerably one of the best that ever did it, him and Rock and Wanda Sykes, and people that I admire, that I love and love to look at and get inspired and want to write and get down.
Is it true that one of the reasons you're doing comedy today is that somebody actually dared you to get on stage?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. My guy bet me $50 because I never was funny. It was just always, I would just overthink stuff, and like somebody could trip and fall in front of us, and everybody will laugh, and I'll be more like, why wasn't they paying attention to that chair, and want to ask them why they didn't pay attention to that chair, why they tripped over it. And so it took me a while for my friend to see what my friend was talking about. And then one day I was like, all right, let's go. He bet me money and was like, let's do it. And I was like, all right, bet me $50. And I went up, and I couldn't get on for 3 weeks. And then finally got on, and I was like, oh, got it. I was like, all right. Yeah.
I always feel like comedians have one of the toughest jobs ever, because it's your role to make people laugh that you've never met before. And that's extremely tough. So therefore, every comedian has a story about bombing. Can you tell us a time where things didn't go so well on stage?
1994, August, chilly evening. Budweiser Superfest going on. And I had to open for it. And it was just horrific. People was throwing stuff at me that shouldn't have been at concerts, like golf balls and coat hangers. I'm like, what are you doing with a coat hanger here? Like, throwing all kinds of stuff. I was like, yo, it was terrible. Then I had to like wait around for my money because the promoter was running around the show, so I couldn't just leave. I had to be more humiliated by sitting around everybody. And yeah, you had those nights, man, where you just, Actually, I just had one recently. When you're working on new material, like if you drop a special, right? When people see specials, that's the end game. That's not the beginning of, yo, here I go with some new, fresh material. When you see that special, know that comic ain't got one joke after that special come out. And they have to build, and they got to build up and like get a whole new hour together. So while you're doing that, you're starting from 0 jokes. So for every 10, 20 jokes I write, only like 2 worked. So just not recently, I was on stage, and boy, I was like, am I in here by myself? Like, but that's the process. People don't see that. People don't see comedians spend like years, night after night, working on material. For every 10 jokes, you write 2 work, you put them to the side. You put them to the side, and before you know it, you got an hour. And now you can quit doing this. And now you're focusing on everything that you piled up, and then it's time to tour.
Yeah, like being in the gym, you working on moves all of the time, but sometimes they ain't ready for the game yet, or they ain't ready for the 4th quarter yet. They're just you're still trying to get it ready. I totally understand that. And I want to also shout out your new show, as I mentioned, Average Joe.
Yeah,
Congratulations, brother. It's
thank
highly anticipated. It's killing the game. And it gets dark now. It gets dark.
yeah,
What
it
made you
does.
want to be a part of a series like this?
It was just, a change of pace, man, and just doing something that I always wanted to do. I always wanted to do dramatic acting as well as comedy. I feel like if whatever I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try to do it all. Like if I'm a barber, I'm not gonna just try to cut black hair. I'm gonna try to cut white hair. I'm gonna try to
Right,
cut Hispanic hair. I'm gonna try
right.
to cut everybody hair because if I'm already here,
No
I would get
doubt.
money if I would learn how to be more versatile. You get what I
Right.
mean? So that's
Absolutely.
how it is. Like if I'm in this acting thing, I don't want to just be in it just for comedy. I want to really take it serious, study, get it together, and really give the best that I can do, and give them the best I can do, and see what happens.
So I'm a huge fan of yours, and I've been following your career a long time. And
Love.
it broke my heart because you and I unfortunately had something happen to both of us recently that we've talked about public, and that's losing our moms.
Yeah.
And your most recent comedy special, Charlene's Boy, is
Mm-hmm.
dedicated to your late mother.
Yeah.
And trust me, brother, I feel your pain. I feel your grief. And it's something in particular as Black men, we don't get a chance to be vulnerable in
Mm-hmm.
whatever things that we're dealing with. What is something that you've learned about grief for this new period of life?
Oh man, and condolences too, man. Yeah, I know all about that with you, man. So grief is like, don't nobody really know how to deal with it. And everybody deals with it differently. And everybody receives it differently. And other people that are there amongst the people that are grieving, they really don't know really how to, really be there for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned through this process, the ones who stayed and the ones who left,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm not being who I was. I come to find out that the way that I was benefiting them.
Mm.
So if I'm no longer me, I have no reason to be in a life because
Mm.
I'm not benefiting them. You get what I mean? And so
Absolutely.
it was something that I learned where I was like, oh, wow, like I'm only good if I'm this way. If
Mm-hmm.
I'm off, then that means you're off and you really don't need me. And so therefore I learned that through people like, wow, like know who's around you and why they're around you. You know what I mean? And what purpose they play around you. And
Mm.
so I learned that. I also learned how to, express myself without feeling like I'm weak or I'm soft or nothing like that. Just really like letting it out. And come to find out, it was so many people going through the same thing. I remember
Mm.
I was buying this car for my son's mother. I'm in a car lot and I'm sitting in the car and I'm crying, man. I'm just crying in a brand new car. It's plastic and everything. I'm crying, and the dealer guy comes over, like, "You all right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man, my fault, man. I'm tripping." He said, "You good?" And I said, "Yes." I said, "Man, my mom just passed, man, and I'm trying to deal with this." And he just started crying.
Mm.
It was like, yo, and he grabbed me and he hugged me, man. And he was just like, man, like, welcome to the 50 Club. And I was just like, what's that? And he was like, man, anybody close to 50 or in their 50s, that's when a lot of our parents start like passing away because they're in their 80s and 70s. And he was like, and everybody that's around that age, it happens. And he was like, man, he said this mother had died 10 years ago and he still ain't got over it. He was crying right in the lot. And I was just like, and it just tripped me out when he said that. And I was like, wow. So I started doing some research and it was like a true thing. Everybody I talked to was like, for the exception of some, but the majority of people was like around that age group and they all was going through it. And I was like, man. So I wanted to do this special, not knowing that I was going to do it for that reason, but I wanted to do the whole, like when I did that special, I did the whole routine without telling anybody what I was going through, because I want to show them that us as entertainers, we be going through a whole lot and they don't even see it. You know what I mean? And we have to put our stuff aside just to entertain them. And we're not complaining, but
Right, no doubt.
what happens. So therefore I did the whole special without even mentioning it. And then at
Mm.
the end, I mentioned it and told them, you know, what that day was, that I had did this on the day that my mother had passed. And just to show them that, yeah, I was rocking this all night. Y'all not even knowing that I was a hole tearing in me inside because of me doing this on the day that she passed a year later. And I just let them know that, yo, this is something that you all don't know when you see entertainers. Get them love, because you never know what somebody going through.
Absolutely. And I'm sending you love and strength and perseverance, my brother. Like I said, I've been seeing your interviews. I've seen the special. I've been following you very closely. And the way you've navigated has been an inspiration to many of us who can relate to losing their mom. Especially, it definitely hits different for me. And you said it at the beginning of this interview, when you come from a single parent home.
Man, it's the worst, because that's all you got. You have nothing else. Everything that you do, you're doing for this person. You know what I mean? Everything I did was for her. I'm an only child. So for her to go instantly, not a build-up set, just instantly gone the next day. That's like that'll really with you. And for anybody to think that I'm normal after that is selfish, you know, for them to think like, oh, he's different. Yeah, I am. I'm real different, super different, because everything that I worked for was for this person, and now they're gone. It almost feel like anything good nowadays feel like it's hard. It's like you can't share it no more. You know what I mean? It's a whole different feel for accomplishments and, you know, everything. But at the same token, they survive through us, you know, no matter what it is. If it's through a password, if you put the password in every day, at least you're thinking of them, their name is coming up. Or if you're naming a car after them, or a kid, or a pet, or whatever, it's you. They live through you, and you're obligated to keep them living. And that's why I named my special Charlene's Boy.
And like, people see you now, right? And they'll see you in the TV shows. They'll see you in the movies. They'll see you in the commercials. But I want to identify something that I don't want to go over a lot of people's heads. The turbulence that he needed to overcome to get to this point, from a child to an adult to losing his mom. There's a lot of things to bombing on stage. So has therapy been something you've done before, during, and or after? And can you just talk to young people and all people about navigating turbulence, because it's gonna happen?
Yeah, absolutely, it's gonna happen. So I remember my mom first passed, and I was way more of a wreck. I couldn't even go outside. I couldn't see nobody, nothing. And I remember people was going, man, like after 2 weeks, they was like, you need to like just talk to somebody. And I was like, no, I don't. Like, I was like, what weirdo only parent passes away, and they don't have no brothers and sisters. They leave suddenly, and all of a sudden they cry for 2 weeks, and somebody's going, you need to talk to somebody. No, I don't. I need to mourn as much as I need to until I find my new normal. When I find my new normal, then I'll be able to function properly. But I don't need to do none of that. I need to just mourn at my pace. And then after that, you know, if it's still bothering me at that same magnitude, then where I can't function, because it's always going to bother you forever. But at the magnitude that you can't function, then you go seek help or whatever. You know, I went and saw somebody and I talked to them for a few months or whatever. And then after that, that was like basically it. And I just started practicing a routine of just working hard, man, and just like really grinding and staying busy and not having too much idle time to myself, and just focus on something. It's something I could be doing. And that's what I've been basically doing, as well as trying to, like, you know, manage it or whatever. But yeah, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And to each his own. And to be honest with you, that's the approach I have with life also. And I encourage people to obviously get the support they need, the guidance that they need. But a lot of times for me personally, it's hard for me to confide, so to speak, in a complete stranger and get everything back that I'm pouring into them.
Ain't no way you can do it. There's no way you can do it. I talked to this person because the people that I were talking to, I was in the middle of that. Oh, you still treat me the same way, and now we're getting into it because now you think that I'm supposed to be the same and I'm not. And now I'm getting into it with this person, or this person don't understand me. This person's cool with me, and now I'm looking at all these people around me, and I'm just going, wait a minute. Let me go talk to somebody that ain't in the middle of all this. And I just talked to them and told them, but I'm not even no therapy kind of guy like that. To each his own, but I'm just not. Like, I'm just a praying dude. I pray and that's just it. But at this moment, I felt like I wanted to just have someone that wasn't in the middle of none of this and just talk to them and find out what they thought. Took bits and pieces of what they said, because I don't believe all of it. Took bits and pieces and came back around and, just made sure that, that I wasn't being difficult towards people and that they was treating me with the same respect that I was trying to give them in the midst of what I was going through. You know what I mean? So
absolutely. And again, it's admirable the way that you've navigated and will continue to navigate. I want to ask you about something else. So as hip hop turns 50, right now it's Black Music Month.
Mm-hmm.
Who are your top 5 Black artists of all time?
Of all time?
Yeah, your top 5.
Hip hop or just music?
Music, hip hop, whatever.
Because hip hop music is, different genres of music is different people.
Correct. So. Yep. Your top 5 musicians, period.
Michael.
Legend. Go.
Luther Vandross.
Big or skinny Luther?
Big Luther. With a little bit of skinny on the top of it, like just a little sprinkle of skinny on the top. But no, Luther Vandross is probably one of the best singers that ever did it to me.
Writers. I always talk about his writing was impeccable.
It was crazy. I did some Old Spice commercials with Patti LaBelle, and I said, who's the greatest singer ever? Patti was like, Luther, instantly. She was like, nobody else. I said, I feel the same way. She was like, he was the baddest dude that ever did it. Yeah, I like Luther. Let me see, who else? The bat? Prince.
Crazy talent.
Man.
One-man band.
One-man band, right? James Brown. Man. I'm trying to think, man. Aretha.
Detroit.
These are people, without them, there will be nobody. Everybody else after them have been them. You know what I mean? These are people who set the trends for everybody. Even James Brown, there wouldn't be no Mike or Prince if it weren't for James.
Agreed. Yeah. That's a great list. And as I mentioned, the sky's the limit for you right now. Man. But at this point in your career, what's the best advice you've gotten from someone else to help you on this journey?
Man, I don't remember who told me this, but they was just like, continue being you because everybody else is taken.
Preach. That's drops the mic right there. Oh man, I love that so much. I'm gonna adopt that. And again, my brother, I appreciate you taking the time. But before I let you get out of here, Deon Cole, I got a rapid fire segment called Gone in 60 Seconds. You ready to do this?
Let's go. Let's do it.
All right, we in Chi-Town.
Yes,
Where's
sir.
the best place to find a great restaurant? What's your favorite restaurant in Chicago?
Man, one of my favorite restaurants is this place called Batters and Berries up north. Man, dope breakfast. We talking like they be having like waffles and lobster. Like It'd be crazy combos like that. You'd be like, what? Homemade vegan Italian sausage, chicken, like it's just always extra with them, but it's so good.
No doubt. I gotta check that out. So
Yeah,
here's a good one. What would be your walk-up song if you came out on stage?
What's my walk-on song?
Yeah, when you're about to come out on stage, what's your walk-up song? Like baseball players, they got their walk-up music when they up at bat.
I used to play Kanye, but I played it for like 6 years, like every time I did a show. And I just recently was like, I got to change the music up when I come out. Lately, man, I've been coming up on Tamia.
Ooh. Ooh. Shout out to her and Grand Hill.
I've been coming up on some slow songs, man. Kind of like the calm before the storm. You know what I mean? Like just flipping it up too, just flipping it up, letting the audience enjoy themselves. The music used to be for me, but now I make the music for the audience.
How did you respond when you knew that you were going to be in Color Purple?
Man, let me tell you a wild story, though. I'm gonna tell you a wild story real quick. I ain't never told nobody this neither at all. I was Danielle Brooks. That's my baby. Love Danielle. Shout out to Danielle. She's in the movie. A fantastic actress, one of the best to do it, whatever. Me and her good friends, whatever. And we had just had dinner out in New York. We went to go see the Michael Jackson Broadway play, right? Her husband, her, my guy Cootie, me, there's a whole bunch of us. We all go eat afterwards. And we all celebrating her to go do the Color Purple. We was very happy for her and everything. And, you know, she goes off or whatever. And so I go home. A few weeks later, I'm sitting at home and she calls me and goes, "Oh, I can't wait to hug you." And I was like this, "Okay, yeah, where you at?" Because I'm thinking like, she must be thinking when I go to school.
Right.
I'm like, "Where you at?" She like, "I'm down to Savannah." I'm like, "Oh, okay." I'm thinking to myself, I don't think I got Savannah on the schedule, but okay, cool, you know. And she just like, "Yeah, man, I can't wait to see you. This is gonna be great." And I was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "So what's in Savannah?" She's like, "You know, we down here shooting." She's like, "When you get here." And I was like, I'm not coming there. I said, "For a show?" She was like, "No, aren't you in the movie?" And I was like, "The Color Purple? No." No, I'm not in The Color Purple. What are you talking about? She was like this. No, she was like, "Oh, well, I was in the office today, and she said, well, I saw your face on but they got like a vision board, and your face was up there, and I don't know. Maybe I'm just talking. I don't know." She was like, "Anyway, all right, I love you, bye." And I was just like, dang. And then about 2 days later, I called my manager and just told her the conversation we had. My manager was like, "Yeah, we have been talking to them for a while, but we don't like coming to you with stuff until we know exactly what's happening or whatever. But maybe it's gonna happen." And I think right after that, they called and was like, "Yo, we want you to come rock." And I just could not believe it. But when she said that, she lost her mind. I was like, The Color Purple?
That's classic. I know you can't give no spoilers, but like, tell us something we can look forward to.
You can look forward to a whole different type of feel. This ain't the old Color Purple. Know that. This Color Purple ain't your mama's Color Purple. It ain't our old school Color Purple. This is a whole different Color Purple, a whole different outlook, and everything going on. What you're going to see is something that you never seen before in cinema. I guarantee you. The way that brother Blizz, the director Blizz, shout out to Blizz, shout out to him. Now that brother is on another page. The way he put this together is something else, man. Shout out to Oprah Winfrey and shout out to Steven Spielberg too, man. But the movie's like, man, it's like something you've never seen. And I'm not just hyping this up, like it really is. And so, like, I'm not like throughout the whole thing or whatever, but you know, I got like a role that's like significant to the movie, but I'm not like throughout the whole shit like that at all. But everybody in it is incredible.
No, can't wait to check it out. And lastly, but certainly not least, you're on tour. Where you doing shows? What can fans expect when they come to one of your shows?
And first of all, go to DeonCole.com, get your tickets. I'm gonna be coming out to city near you. I got a new tour called My New Normal Tour. I want everybody to come out, come check it out, come check out the new material. You know, I always come with new material. That's one thing that I try to pride myself on. If I'm coming to your city, I'm coming with at least about 80%, 85, 90% brand new material. I do some favorites for the people that want to hear that, but it's always 80% higher new material that I'm doing. And that you definitely want to come out. Everybody come on out. Let's hug each other. Let's talk it out. And let's just embark on this new life that we have and these new opportunities. Yep.
Well, I'm coming to support you, my brother, for sure.
I got you, Jay. Come through. You let me know. Come, man. Come kick it. I got you, brother. I appreciate it.
Love. I appreciate you taking the time.